Probably nope.
Oh,
I am
looks
now.
like it.
I am now. I guess when I don't know. You know, when I restarted the software over here on the computer, it did tell me I was host. You're now the host. Okay. I already knew that. Thank you. I added a couple more links to videos into the Wix forum for Yard. They're pretty interesting. Those
That's for the tires.
For the tires.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting stuff. I really don't know when the mag wheel kind of deal might come around, you know, but the idea of being able to spin your tires like that it's kind of interesting. Save the tread. So you were talking about the version of the IDE over on my older computer that I'm still got 1.8.10 installed on it.
Okay.
I never found the need to upgrade when I got the new computer. And I suppose until stuff just starts not working at all, there's no real reason to upgrade.
Yeah, certain risks associated with being an early adopter.
So, anybody in the market for some computer equipment?
What are you selling?
Oh, I've got Dell laptops and Dell laptops and Dell desktops and some more Dell desktops and some Cisco switches and some Norton phones and some Dell docking stations. And
So what did you do? Buy a pallet or something?
It might have been a pallet, maybe two.
It sounds like Barry had a really good day at the auction.
There's a Dell LaserJet printer and an HP LaserJet printer and a HP LaserJet printer. And
are they network printers?
Hang on a second, I'll look.
Are they color?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I haven't tested any of this stuff yet, so I don't know if it works, but I got 3 color LaserJets. I know the one laser works, but it needs new cartridges.
New toner.
Problem is the cartridges on those will cost a lot more than the printer.
Not on color laser, they're not. Color LaserJets cost you $500 and up, and it's about $150 for toners. I never print enough to warrant buying toners for it.
Yeah. Well, and you can always buy the recycled toners.
Yeah, that is refurbed. If you did buy the HP, they're like $300 or $400, but then you're getting on the edge of what a printer costs at that point. But
yeah,
it's like these 2 ones I just picked up this morning. They're a lot smaller and they don't do the scanning and stuff. So
I take a couple of Dells off your hands, but the problem is I'm in California right now, so
I can store them.
Not in a good position to do that.
Yeah, I'm figuring some of these laptops probably have an issue or two. There's one that looks like it's been dropped and the battery's missing. So it's
It's just slightly used. No big
yeah.
deal.
Well, and I've been wanting a couple busted ones anyway to tear down for stealing parts out of.
Yeah.
Like, cause like I can make myself a camera out of the camera out of a laptop.
What's
Never had one that was busted up enough to tear down for it.
So are these all missing hard drives?
I don't think so.
but there may or may not be an OS on them.
Well, some of them have Windows 10 stickers on them, so they might even have that.
Yes, but they may or may not.
Like I said, I haven't even begun to dig through it. I just got home with them about 2 hours ago, and I passed out.
Wow.
So what do you have? A whole truckload there? Or?
Well, it's an SUV full. There's 38 Norcom phones or something like that, and 7 desktop towers. Plus, I already had 3 or 4 desktop towers.
You got to watch those phones.
Yeah.
Those
well,
are probably a proprietary system.
Well, so I thought they were voice over IP phones, and I'm looking at some of the equipment they gave me. I'm not entirely sure they are.
Yeah, there's probably some weird proprietary thing. Norcom was bad about that.
Well, and that's the other thing. Didn't pay much attention to the phones. I said they were IP phones. I was like, oh, but no big deal. But I got a buddy that's really big into phones, and his company is always building like satellite offices. So he might be interested in the phones if he knows how to use them.
Yeah. Phones are weird because if they're locked, you may have a problem getting them unlocked.
Oh, well, that's like I said. He hacks phones for entertainment. Phones are his
thing.
Yes. So like he loves getting a hold of pallets of Cincinnati Bell phones, because he knows how to pop them so easy.
Yeah.
And then he just resets them and then puts them on his own systems.
Yeah. I usually try to avoid phones unless it's just absolutely part of a deal somewhere.
Yeah.
But
well, I still haven't. I've got a couple of phones here I wanted to pop open up stuff, and he sent me the instructions for it. I've never sat down and done it yet.
Yeah.
But he's into Asterix and all kinds of other stuff. Like he does, his phone costs him like $2 a month.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Well, I've got a Cisco phone sitting here that doesn't cost me anything a month.
Yeah. So. Well, his daughter's teddy bear has a phone system in it. It's just crazy what he does. I forget what bear it is, but it's got some kind of little knockoff Android object in it, for like an LED screen, and he's imported a phone app so that if he ever gets locked in the kids' room during some seizure, he can still make a phone call out with the teddy bear. Absolutely bonkers. But
why would he get locked into his kids' room?
I didn't ask. I don't. He walks around with a cell phone that's got like 14 numbers on it. I mean,
it's better not asking some of these questions. Is that what you're trying to say, Barry?
I just say I don't try to. I'm not a phone fanatic guy. I mean, I wouldn't spend 3 weeks trying to reverse engineer some third-party piece of junk equipment to figure out how to turn it into a phone. But he does, that's his thing.
Well, so where'd you make this great haul, Barry?
This is from Moorhead company called Gateway. I'm not entirely sure what they did, but they
got deals.
It was kind of funny. Well, so normally I wouldn't have bothered bidding because it's so much just stuff I don't care for. Like some of the towers are older than I'd mess with, but he had some newer laptops like the 7250 and stuff. And then there's a couple others, and then they're like these E5500s and stuff. I know them pretty well. They're pretty all right laptops, and They had a reserve on it that they added it like an hour before it closed, and my bid didn't meet the reserve, so I didn't think I was going to get it. And then they emailed me and said that they were going to go ahead and accept it. So I was like, okay,
Well, that's nice of them.
yeah. So
They decided that your money was better than no money.
yeah,
Yeah.
That sounds to me like they weren't getting a lot of real juicy bids.
well, yeah, I say they had like no traction. I was like bid number 3. And I didn't bid much. I just bid enough to, because I thought if one or two of the good laptops or the E5500, I could probably get the money back out of it. And there's like 5 AC Tendra 1200 WAPs and some Netgear switches, and I don't know what this other company switches are. They're PoE.
Well, those sound interesting. How many port?
The Netgear's 24 port.
That should
And
be
then
adequate.
these 3 I've never heard of before are her Ada Train are 24 port PoE switches too. There's 3 of them. On eBay, they're like $400 a pop. So
where'd you have to go to pick this stuff up?
middle of nowhere, Kentucky, by Moorhead College.
Okay.
What,
So it wasn't that long a haul.
Nah, like 85 miles. It's nothing.
Yeah.
what are the model numbers for the laser printers?
One's a HP colored LaserJet CP. Looks like. Hang on.
That one's probably a newer
1215.
1215.
And then let me get the box of phones off the other.
Are you still in the car?
He disappeared.
Rush.
Okay. That's one of the smaller ones.
The other one's a Dell color LaserJet 138. Looks like. Got like 2 letters after it I can't read because they're smudged, but
What do they have? 4 cartridges in them?
I would assume.
The cartridges for the Dell are actually cheap. They're small cartridges, I bet.
Yeah. And then like the one I have that I know that works is a HP C, or was it MFC?
Yeah, it's one of
This
the
is like a 1015. Yeah. Well, so yeah, I bought it like just before Windows 7 come out, and Windows 7 does not support the scan feature. And HP never made drivers for it.
Right.
So it's like dumb as dirt. It works fine on a Mac, but it doesn't work in Windows for the scanning. But it's got a, can do copies and print and everything else just fine. It won't scan to Windows. So stupid. But I said it works fine. It probably works fine in Linux too. I've just never messed with it on Linux, but it worked fine on Mac. It just throws an error when you do a scan, but the scan still comes over just fine.
Yeah, it'll probably work on Linux.
The Dell, that's a decent sized printer, right?
Yeah, it's a big cube.
Big cube, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's smaller than the multifunction, but
yeah,
it's about twice the height of the first that little HP. But
yeah, the toner for those is reasonable, but the toner cartridges are small.
Yeah.
So you're running out of toner all the freaking time on those.
I honestly have no idea. I said I've never seen one. I've never messed with it. I just got it. So
Yeah. I when we had the computer shop, we had one that we were very, very glad that somebody decided they wanted to buy it from us because, like I said, the toner we were
yeah,
always
you're
we were
going through
always
toners.
using toner in that thing.
Well, that's the thing that irks me off too. I always either seen the Xerox phaser,
Mm-hmm.
the first generation of it when it took the big crayon cube
Yes.
sticks.
Oh, I love those things. Those phasers were
Oh my
awesome.
God. I mean, it was like $5 for a print toner for it,
Yeah.
and it's like, why they ever turn that into where it took a cartridge base and then it was like $100 for the cartridge? It's stupid as dirt.
I love those phasers. So those things were awesome.
Yeah, I mean, they print really well. But I say my mom's office got like the later model that took like an actual toner style.
Toner cartridge, yeah.
Yeah, and it took a cartridge, and I mean, those cartridges were stupidly expensive. And I never understood that because the whole concept of the phaser was it was cheap color printing.
Cheap.
Um,
And it was nice. It was not. It wasn't. It did not look cheap. It had that really nice glossy look to it.
oh yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it printed really well. But
Um.
You
yeah,
need special paper for that, or will that print on
No.
ordinary?
It printed on normal paper. It basically was a crayon pack that you would load into it, and that's what it was. It would heat these crayons up and extrude out the crayon through the print head,
Huh.
and it would you, sometimes you kind of had to be careful because it would smudge a little if it printed it out and it was still hot, but otherwise, I mean, they were beautiful machines. We usually printed out 15 or 20 extra copies just because we knew some of them were going to be smudged because that's just the way it worked.
So once they were cool, they were stable though. Then
Right. That was one of the problems with those phasers was at least on the early models there was no active cooling to it. So when it
yeah,
shoved it out of the paper tray, you
it,
took your chances.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. I never got to play with one much. I seen a demo of it, and they printed me out a copy there, and it was like freaking phenomenally pretty
Yeah.
print. And I was like, man, we had a printer at Inco that was like $10,000 or $15,000, and I mean, it was almost on par with what that printed. I was like, that's impressive.
Yeah.
And then they were like, yeah, and the cartridges, it's these crayons, and they're like, $20 gets you like 6 cartridges for the black, which would do like, 100,000 pages, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. An insane amount of volume to those things, and once they were heated up, they were fast.
Yeah.
But the speed is also what caused the problem with them.
Smear. Well, that's what I thought was odd too. And I didn't know. Later on, I was working at Fidelity. Fidelity had like a different generation of it where the crayon was actually like a powder.
Yeah.
And it went
I've
into
seen those.
a canister.
Yeah.
Because I had to refill that one day, and I was like, "What the hell is this thing?" And I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "What?" And they had like gallon jugs of it in a thing underneath it, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
There was I don't remember who made it. Phaser may have made it. There was one that used it was like a lithograph machine. Um, and it would spin the drums and you could hear the toners sloshing
Mix.
around in it. That thing always worked really good. It was really fast. Or a mimeograph machine, not a lithograph machine, a mimeograph machine. Its biggest problem was the same thing. The faster it got, the more smeary it got.
Yeah, it makes
But
sense.
but it had you could do multi passes on it and build colors on top of each other. It had like 4 different toners, big huge drum toners. And in order to actually get those things at a decent cost, you would send your old drums back to the company and they would refill them, and you could get a new toner, a new drum toner from them for, I don't know, it was like $50 or something, and it would last 300,000 copies.
Nice.
But you had to send the old one back. If you didn't send the old one back, you were spending a lot of money on those stupid things.
Yeah. Core
So
charges.
what was this? A close down of a business, or?
Oh, it's a division of Xerox. Yeah. But I don't even know if it still exists now, to be honest.
No, I'm talking about where you did where you bought the stuff.
Oh, no. Yeah. They just did an upgrade, I'm guessing. Probably went to Cisco and voice over IP phones and bought new hardware.
So this was one company. This was an auction house.
Yeah, it was from Gov Deals. I watch that semi-regularly sometimes.
Yeah. I missed it, Barry. Did you say that the HP was a network?
Oh, I forgot to look. Hang on.
I'm not sure.
So what's your background there, Leroy? And it seems to be flickering. It flickers on and off.
That is the Green Hornet symbol.
Ah, okay.
And I don't know why it would be flickering on and off.
I don't know. Maybe some breeze is blowing the curtain or something.
I do have a fan in my little area, so.
Yeah, they're all three USB 3. They don't have a. Well, it's the lower model. I said it's got a blank for where
it's got the slot for it.
Yeah, where the NIC card would have been if it was there. That's the same with the 1015. The 1017 is the one with the NIC card in it. It's an extra $100.
Right.
You know, so it's like, yeah.
If you don't want a whole lot for the small HP, I might take it from you.
Well, I'll see what, so if it works and stuff. And it's like, I ain't too worried about getting much out of it. If it, I said, we'll see.
Yeah,
I'll let you know.
I don't really know what that particular model's worth.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Just stuff that was in there. It's like color lasers. If they work, hey, great. And if they don't,
25
they're motors, stepper motors.
Can you add a NIC card?
Not likely.
Yeah. They used to sell them. Now probably if you need a NIC card for it, it probably will cost a fortune. It's probably not worth it.
I say I got some Jet Direct cards, but it doesn't have a Jet Direct slot. So,
yeah, when you can get one of these printers fairly inexpensive, it's probably not worth messing with the NIC card that's not there.
Yeah. Well, that's I've got some old Jet Direct parallel port adapters.
Yeah.
So that you can turn, a parallel printer into a network printer. Yeah. But they're not parallel. So
I found I found at a thrift store a Canon LaserJet, just a monotone printer that had Wi-Fi in it, and it was a LaserJet, and I was like, oh, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And $7. I have not regretted that purchase one little bit.
There you go. My bosses. So my one office I'm at, we have the other renters of the building is a medical scanning facility that does MRI stuff. And every once in a while they print on our printers because the boss printer has Wi-Fi built onto it. And you start getting these medical reports printing off on our printers in the office. And I'm like, Man, that's a HIPAA violation. Like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Oops.
So how do they get connected to your printer?
I guess they see the printer and they just, because Bluetooth, you know, Wi-Fi printers or whatever, just whatever prints to it and it'll print it, and they click the wrong printer.
And if you randomly drive around, you will find a bunch of HP printers that are giving an access point that don't have any security on them. You could print right to them.
Yeah,
No.
it's so dumb.
Yeah. A few years ago when they first started doing that, I was sitting somewhere and I was just printing. Your printer is open. You have a free access point, and some of them you could even surf the internet with off of it. You have an open access point, and I would print it out and just drive off.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know who Daryl Highland is. He's a security researcher for Rapid7 in Dayton, and he invented the virus for infecting HP printers. He's got some awesome stories.
So when's he get out of jail?
Yeah, he's not in jail. HP makes some bad printers. And printers in general are just bad in the first place. And what's funny is, like, at least HP addresses it sometimes. Other companies like Xerox and Brother barely ever look at it. It's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what you can do to a printer on a network, it's disturbing, because they're basically Linux boxes with no security on them at all. Yeah.
That's this Canon I've got. I've pinged it several times, and I can't find an open port on it other than the printer, the printing port.
Oh yeah, that's kind of surprising.
Yeah.
Especially for, I don't know, I've never really heard too much about Canons, but they're so rare in the business area. They're not very common.
Yeah. Well, that's what was kind of surprising to me, was a home-ish kind of deal that had Wi-Fi and was a laser printer. And I went,
Yeah.
oh, okay, because you really don't see laser printers with Wi-Fi outside of the business world.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the home stuff, like those little cheapo, even the cheapo brothers now, they're like $99. Will have Wi-Fi on them nowadays.
Yeah, Wi-Fi may be getting more common, but when I bought this, Wi-Fi was definitely not a thing.
Yeah.
Not on the printers.
Yeah. I kind of avoid it. I'm not a big fan of wireless devices like that, but especially, like you said, you don't control who prints to it, so it's like you don't even turn that on. So what's the point of having it?
Well, that's one thing that I can say with the Canon. It does not set up an access point. I mean,
Yeah, so that helps.
So
you join it on it.
You kind of have to know that it's there to do it, and I leave mine turned off anyway. So
yeah. Well, that's what cracked me up, is like there was an office. I don't remember whose it was. They had like a high speed, like heavy industrial HP printer, and somebody printed like 25,000 pages off of it.
Yeah.
Remote, just wham, and it like hit it with like a phone book or something, and it, spat out like 400 or 500 pages, at a time. So it was like till it ran out of paper.
Stuff's all over the floor.
Yep. Well, it's like when was it Blue Cross and Blue Shields? I mean, they'd have printables, man, that were hooked up to pallets. Yeah, because of how much paper they printed there. It was crazy. I always freaked out. I was like, anybody ever, sent a bad job to that, man?
Well, I don't really need a color printer, but I wouldn't mind having a color printer if that makes sense.
No, I completely understand. That's why I bought my first one. And then I've printed all of like, 50 pages or something.
Right. But yeah, I've come to the, any printer I buy, it's got to be a laser printer though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't mess with anything
when
else.
when when I don't print a whole lot of color stuff, the ink cartridges just have a tendency to go bad.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, they sit there and dry up,
yeah.
and next
Yep.
time you try them, they won't work.
Yeah, and at least with toner, with a laser printer, shake the cartridge a couple of times, you're good to go.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say that usually they'll last you a whole lot longer than an ink cartridge will, but um and it could just be that the crappy ones that they shipped with the printer, they've like degassed or something, so they start streaking because they won't
Right.
hold the toner in or whatever.
I bought, it was 20 years ago, 18 years ago at a school auction. I bought a pallet of HP printers, all laser printers, and I paid maybe $1 a piece for these printers.
Yeah, they're
And
tanks.
and
Just don't die.
they were old when I bought them. One of them had, I don't know, some insanely amount of prints on it, like 400 million or something. And I went, okay. And I used that thing forever with the toner that was in it. It told me that it was at 20% the whole entire time. And I probably printed another 100,000 copies of stuff off of it.
Yeah.
And it finally, what ended up breaking on it was a little plastic gear.
Here.
And I said, oh, well, we've had a good run. And
Yeah,
I
for a
tossed it in the
buck.
trash. And I pulled the toner out because even at 20%, it it was still had life in it. It was like, holy cow. I
Yeah.
probably used that thing for 8 years before it broke.
Yeah, I
I,
had
gue-
a
I guess I have this thing about killing trees. Why why does anybody print 100,000 anything? I
Well,
mean,
that was back when I was selling a lot of stuff on eBay.
oh,
So I was printing shipping labels, I was printing invoices, I was printing all kinds of stuff that I needed. I've got a thing now where I don't really like to print a whole lot of stuff. So, if I have to, I've got a printer, I can print stuff. Having a color printer would be nice because we could print some pictures for the kids or print pictures of the grandkids or whatever. But I'm kind of like, I don't print a whole lot of stuff. I don't really need to print a whole lot of stuff. I've got the paper, the e-paper display. I can display stuff. you know, PDFs work really well for me.
yeah.
So
They take a lot less space too.
they do, generally speaking, they do take a whole lot less space. I don't know. I could fill a file cabinet with all the PDFs I've got,
Yeah.
but yeah. At the time, there was actually a need for when I was printing out that much stuff. I mean, everybody wanted a receipt for something or an invoice for something, and we were doing a lot of computer stuff and a lot of computer work, and so it just, I think we were well, that probably wasn't the printer that we were printing the menus with, because those were full color. But we were printing menus for places, for restaurants that would change every couple of weeks. They would want to add a special or take a special off or something. So we were going through paper pretty good. But, so, hey Vicente.
Yeah.
So if you're Batman, can I at least be the Green Hornet?
For a while. I'm thinking on that. Nice. Do you have a t-shirt for that?
No.
So
No. But did you see my new car?
no, the police one. The
No,
police-
no. I got a new car. You didn't
Yeah.
see it. Hang on.
New being relevant.
Show it.
Probably, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There it is. There's my new car.
Okay.
I finished rebuilding my hybrid battery pack today.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Fun times. All that work for one stupid cell that blew.
Sometimes
You've done
that's-
that before, haven't you, Barry?
Yeah, a year ago. And that's what ticks me off. The one that blew was one of them I put in last year.
Really?
Yep.
What causes them to blow anyway?
I don't know. I just age and heat, I guess. The cell that went bad was almost 1.5 volts lower than the rest.
We're down
I
to
still-
about 30 seconds.
Had like 20. I still got 20 modules from the pack I bought last year. I just swapped it with a couple others out of it.
15. All right, guys. I guess I'll
See
see
you
everybody
guys.
next week.
See you next week.
All
Bye.
right.
A good one.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah.
Adios.